Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge topic, organizational transformation. We're going to be using the playbook from the Silicon Valley Product Group to figure out why so many of these big change initiatives fail, and more importantly, what it actually takes to get it right. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been part of a digital transformation that felt like it was just spinning its wheels? Yeah, you're not alone. Companies are pouring millions, sometimes billions, into these big initiatives that just fizzle out. So, why do they fail so often? And what does a successful transformation even look like? All right, so let's start with the big why. Why is everyone talking about this right now? It feels like every company on the planet is in this mad dash to transform, and for good reason. For a lot of them, the ground is literally shifting under their feet. It's not just one thing. It's like a perfect storm hitting all at once. You've got totally game-changing tech, like generative AI, popping up. You have new, scrappy competitors who are way more agile. Your best employees are getting frustrated and leaving. And your customers? Their expectations are changing almost overnight. The old ways of working just can't keep up. The pressure is absolutely real. But the way most companies respond is, unfortunately, a recipe for disaster. Let's walk through a little cautionary tale, a story that, I bet, will sound painfully familiar to some of you. So it usually kicks off with a new CEO who has a big mandate for change. The consultants come in, they create a new product unit, and they centralize everything. But guess what? 2 years in, everything is actually slower than before. So the CEO panics and blames engineering. The goal shifts from innovation to predictability, which is basically code for more process, more meetings. And by year 4, the board has had enough. The whole thing collapses. And the price tag for this kind of failure? We're talking tens of millions of dollars easy. But honestly, the money isn't even the worst part. The real cost is 4 years of lost time, burned out talent, and absolutely zero real progress. It's the perfect example of confusing activity with achievement. Okay, so if that's the road to failure, what's the right path? Well, real transformation isn't about the surface level stuff. New job titles, fancy buzzwords, or forcing everyone to do agile ceremonies. It's about fundamentally rewiring the company's DNA. It's about changing the very engine of how work gets done. A truly successful transformation really comes down to 3 deep, interconnected shifts. You have to change how you build things, how you solve problems, and maybe the most critical piece, how you decide which problems are even worth your time in the first place. All right, let's dig into that first one, which is maybe the most foundational shift of all, rethinking the actual mechanics of how you build and deliver your products. The big goal here is to get away from those massive, painful, high-risk quarterly releases and move to a model of continuous delivery. And let me be really clear. If your teams are only shipping new value to customers once a month, you're not getting the real benefits of agility. You're missing out on the speed, the learning, and the ability to pivot quickly. And look, you can't just decide to go fast. You need the right engine under the hood. This is the stuff that makes it possible. You need instrumentation to see what your users are actually doing, monitoring to make sure things don't break, and the automated infrastructure to push out small, safe changes anytime you want. This is the bedrock of learning fast. Okay, so once you can actually build and ship quickly, that unlocks the next shift, and this one is a real mind bender. It's about moving your focus from just shipping stuff, from output, to delivering real, measurable results or outcomes. This changes everything about how you measure success. The old question was always, how fast can we ship this feature? That's just time to market. The new, much more powerful question is, how fast can we actually create value? That's time to money. It's a completely different way of looking at the world. So how do you get to time to money faster? Well, the main tool for that is product discovery. Instead of spending 6 months building the whole feature just to see if it works, you run quick, cheap experiments to figure out what customers actually want. You kill your bad ideas early, before you've invested a ton of time and money. And that brings us to the third and final piece of the puzzle, which might just be the most strategic shift of them all. This is about changing how you decide what problems to even work on. In the old model, technology is basically treated like an order taker for the business. But that's not where innovation comes from. Real innovation happens when you empower the people who are closest to the technology and closest to the customer to solve those problems directly.
A real product model pushes decision-making to the edges, right where the best information is.
You know, this all really comes down to valuing principles more than process. Steve Jobs had this great line about how the process can't become the thing. When following the steps of your process becomes more important than actually creating something great for your customer, you've already lost the game.
But here is the massive catch in all of this. These three shifts, how you build, how you solve problems, how you decide, it's a blueprint. It's a way of thinking. And a blueprint is totally useless if you don't have people with the right skills and the right mindset to actually build the thing.
And that's actually where we're going to leave it for today. Because everything we've talked about, this entire product operating model, it's all built on a foundation of core competencies. And if a company isn't willing to build those competencies, then all this transformation talk is just, well, it's just talk. So, what are these competencies? What are the specific skills, the roles, the concepts you need to actually turn this theory into a reality? Well, that is exactly what we are going to break down in our next explainer. Thanks for watching.